Hi guys, Tracy and Doss. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing a popular problem on the rise, online scams. They're called lottery scams. And Marianna Van Zeller, one of my all-time favorite interviewers, investigative journalist, has risked her life to bring you an interview. It's a must watch, and I'll bring you some of the highlights, but I do encourage you to go watch the entire documentary on YouTube. Her show is called Trafficked, and the particular episode is called Scams. And it's very informative, and it's something we should all be much more aware of because it's becoming more and more prevalent, especially here in the United States. The documentary discusses the concept that money is the root of all evil, and this is about the money game. According to these scammers, the best person to scam is your average, middle-class, unsophisticated American. We're considered a loser in their eyes. 90% of Americans are targeted because we are stupid. They think our heads are in the clouds, and we are sold this fantasy by the mainstream media through our movies and our TV shows and our romance novels. Not only are Americans are considered very lonely, they're always on their devices, and this is why they're so gullible. The two capitals of this multi-billion-dollar industry is Jamaica, little more on the small scale, and the big boss is Israel. A lot of these calls come from unrecognized numbers, and once you answer, they are relentless. They will not stop calling you. Last year, Jamaica had over 4 million visitors to the island, and Montego Bay was the most popular destination and had 1.5 million Americans visit. Tourism is the backbone of Jamaican economy. The hotels are safe. However, if you leave the walls of that hotel, it's a different kind of place altogether. Organized crime and gang warfare are out of control. The area around Montego Bay has one of the highest murder per capita rates in the world, and lottery scams are one of the biggest hustles. All you need to participate is a phone. The phone calls go something like this. You've just won a Mercedes-Benz, and all you need to do to claim your prize is one-time processing fee. These processing fees alone generated over $300 million per year for Jamaican scammers. It is maintained under the guise, the informer giving information must die. Marianne is warned, and this topic is very prevalent in Jamaica, and the scams are very lucrative for the people in Jamaica. So they are very serious about people talking about this. And Marianna is scared. I mean, this is really dangerous for her to be interviewing these people. Marianna is shown the huge call centers in Jamaica. Not only Jamaicans speak English, but they receive lower wages.
New hustle. What are the gangs fighting for?
They are fighting for loot from lottery scam.
Lottery scams. You're probably familiar with some version. You get a call saying you won a lottery that you don't even remember entering.
You have won yourself $7.5 million in the 2019 Mercedes-Benz S-Class.
That's pretty exciting.
All you need to do to collect whatever they're promising, your millions, your new car, your new house, is to send a processing fee.
One-time payment only.
The price is fake, of course, but the fee you've been conned into paying generates $300 million a year for Jamaican scammers.
So a lot of these companies are based out of Jamaica. The lists used for telemarketing come from political donations, market research, and debt collectors in the United States. The lead lists are very valuable. You've ever heard of your information has been breached? Well, basically, your information has been sold to the highest bidder. One of the scammers interviewed in this documentary is named Tweety, and she tells Marianna she gets paid in 1 month what the tourists pay for one night in the resort she works at. And I believe this is what fuels the hatred for the Americans from these scammers. The hospitality industry is a perfect avenue for these scammers to meet future clients. And they talk about the typical client that they meet. The person that falls for these scams are lonely Americans, usually older, and they have zero remorse. Just think they deserve what they get because they're so stupid. Now, Tweety continues to tell some sob story about how her grandpa couldn't afford surgery because they were so poor, and this justifies her hatred towards God for not providing for them. And so she doesn't feel guilty about committing these crimes against humanity. Marianna puts herself in incredibly dangerous situations to get the story, and there's a point in the documentary where she accompanies the task force of Jamaica in a raid against one of the scammers. And this is so frightening, even from this side of the television. It is horrifying. At one point, Maria finally meets a big boss. His name is Victor, and he even wears a big, huge, heavy gold chain with a G on it. And when she asks him about it, he says, it is a sign of Freemasonry, so you go ahead and do a deep dive on that. And he's very proud of his gangster lifestyle and who he's become. He allows Marianna to interview him because she's a beautiful white woman, and he makes that very clear. This is surrounded by bodyguards with automatic weapons, and talks to her casually about his enterprise. He even said he thought about robbing her of all of her cameras, but because she was so nice, he decided not to. And this was pretty mortifying for her. I think that's when she really realized how much danger she was in. But being the true professional, she continues on and finishes the interview. Victor had started 12 years prior as a young man and had risen to his position as kind of a mid-level boss. Obviously, there's people much, much higher than him. He has about 200 people underneath him. And they justify their behavior by talking about reparation and colonialism and the years of slavery that their people have had to put up with. One scammer that was interviewed claims she makes over 284 calls a day, and sometimes she gets 0 people to bite, but sometimes she gets 1 or 2. Now, the real big player in this game of lottery fraud is Tel Aviv, Israel. They make billions of dollars in this scam, and it makes Jamaica look like child's play. They use investment companies, and they specialize in financial fraud in the grand scale of things. Mashiko is interviewed by Marianna. He immediately takes her phone from her, which has never happened to Marianna in all of her years of investigative journalism. She's pretty shocked, but this shows you how professional this man is, and he is serious about, you know, keeping his identity and his location from people, because this is a lucrative and serious enterprise that he's running. And he brings her through the Diamond District of Tel Aviv. And there is a skyscraper after skyscraper after skyscraper. And he points up to those skyscrapers and he says there is anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 companies in those skyscrapers that are investment fraud agencies. They're scamming people out of millions and millions of dollars. They're fake trading companies. Companies look super legitimate in these huge buildings, and they look very expensive, and they look like they make a lot of money. They were given money to invest by people that was never even invested. That's the scam. So it got so bad that the FBI was forced to issue a warning and let people know that these call centers are fake. And they're all over the place. They're in Georgia, they're in Russia, and of course they're in Israel. They are mafia crime syndicates. Marianna decides to go undercover to film inside one of these call centers, which is crazy and dangerous. And you can tell she's even scared. I mean, this is big time, and these people don't play around. They're scary people. The key factors to determine if these particular companies are scam companies is if they, during the interview, emphasize sales versus finance. It's as if they don't want you to know anything about finance at all, and she lets the man interviewing her know that she doesn't even know anything about Forex or finance, and that she's just strictly a salesperson, and that's what her previous jobs were. And he loved this. I believe that's why she got hired immediately, because she said this. And the interviewer tells Marianna that she could earn up to $30,000 a month in an entry-level job. So he also told her that we don't care if the clients are making money or losing money. We just want them trading. That's how we make our money. Real big red flag is they tell the person interviewing that they don't want them to use their real name or their location. Now, Marianna was very uncomfortable. She knew she was in danger, and she was so happy to get out of there. Now, these people share one thing in common. They don't care about people. Mashiko can make up to $300,000 per day and $1 million in a week. He says a sucker's born every day. And if you have a phone, you have a chance. Scammers talk big, but many deep down have regret. Mashiko is not one of those people that has regret, for sure. So you guys, I hope you have a great week. I just really want us to spread the awareness about all these scams going on and hold on to your money. And, you know, don't give anybody any money on the phone. If you're really interested in investing, go to your local bank or wealth management company. I mean, just beware. If it sounds too good to be true, it's 100% too good to be true. All right, bye you guys.